Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode with your girl Audrey Codner from ACG Math Tutoring. Hopefully, you guys are having a lovely evening. Hopefully, everything is going very well. Right now, we're going to get ourselves nice and situated. So, as promised, we're going to be doing absolute values of equations and decide to throw in a little bit of inequalities. Some people are starting to see that, especially in their ASVAB, and also some people are already started classes and they're starting to see the inequalities. So here we go. All right, so as you guys are coming on in, go ahead and start tapping. Let's see how we can do so we can get ourselves situated with our 1K. And hey Jess, how are you? I'm okay. A little tired. Pulled an all-nighter. Haven't slept yet. Gotta love it. All right. B White. Let me see your note, B White. Let me see your note. All right. So as you guys are coming on in, go ahead and give us a quick little tap. Now, don't worry if you're just like, oh man, this is like above my intelligent grade. Yeah, right. No, it's not. Okay. If I can sit here and teach it, you can definitely sit here and learn it. So if you are thinking about getting your GED, your ASVAB, your ACCUPLACER, or maybe anything like your TEAS test or your IBEW exams, any of the sorts, anything that has to deal with algebra and maybe even college algebra, this is the live for you. If you are just like, you know what, I haven't seen math in a long time and I need an academic reboot, then this is the live for you. If you're just like, you know what, I have school tomorrow, but I just don't wanna, then this is the live for you. So hopefully I'll inspire you a little bit, just ready to keep moving on, because no matter what happens, tomorrow's gonna keep coming. So you might as well see what you can get stuff done today to get yourself ready for tomorrow. So as you coming in, I know I'm exhausted, but that's okay. You know how fun I get when I get exhausted. So as you guys are coming in, go ahead, keep tapping. There's roughly like 17 of us that's coming in. I greatly appreciate it. So as I was saying, we are definitely going to be working on absolute value equations and inequalities. So we're going to practice a little bit more with the solving, but we're putting it on a absolute value field. So if you're not sure, you know what, I always wanted to know what an absolute value was and what was its purpose. Well, let me tell you. So the absolute value is basically the distance away from zero. So like if you have a number line, how far you are away from zero. So we're used to saying that, hey, let me draw you a number line so you can see what I'm talking about. I'll draw it down here for the steps. So we come in here, we have a nice little number line. Let's say we have our 0 right here, smack somewhat in the middle. Say that this is 4, and this is -4. Now, if we take a look at the distance away from 0, so say I wanted to go to one of my friend's house. Okay, you can laugh at the drawing in a second. Ready, hysterics, and go. All right, so you got your friend's house, and this is your house. Your house is right here. And you want to say, okay, I'm basically like 4 blocks away from this friend's house. Now, if I want to go to my other friend's house, and they live in a cottage. This is hilarious. It looks like a paint can. Okay, so with this person, they live 4 blocks away from me as well. But they live 4 blocks away from me in the opposite direction. So opposite being negative, but no matter what, they're both 4 blocks away from my house. Okay, so basically when you're looking at absolute values, Absolute values are always positive. You're always like 4 blocks away, regardless if you're walking forwards or you're walking backwards. Even if you walk backwards, which I wouldn't suggest, because we got too many potholes in the street nowadays. You might lose your life, okay? So you're walking backwards for some sick and twisted reason, but you're still walking 4 blocks away from my house, regardless if you're walking forwards or backwards. So that's why absolute values are always positive. So if I wanted to do the absolute value of negative 24, my answer for that is going to be a positive 24. Okay, so if I wanted to say the absolute value of positive 24, make that a little bit longer so we can tell the difference. My answer is also going to be 24. All right. So now when it comes to solving the equations, you're basically going to be solving the same way as you would solve any other equation, with a slight exception. The exception is we have to represent not only the positive of the number, but we also got to recognize the negative, okay? So the opposite direction. So thanks for coming in. Thanks for the tapping. Let's get going. So slide on down. If we have the absolute value of 3x minus 7 plus 7 equals 9. So we have to have 2 variations of this equation. Now this is what happens. What's inside the absolute values, you do not touch. You just rewrite, okay? But before we can do anything, we need to isolate this absolute value on one side of the equal sign, and then you have a constant on the other side of the equal sign. So AKA, if I want to solve this, first thing I need to do is subtract the 7. So positive 7 minus 7, that gives me a 0, and I don't need the placeholder of 0 because I have this lovely absolute value that's working over here on the left-hand side. So I have the absolute value of 3x minus 7, and it's going to equal 9 minus 7, which gives me a positive 2. Now, if we did our subtraction or whatever operation to isolate our absolute value, if we ever get a result that is negative, that's what I have over here. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Okay, I zoom in a lot more. Over here. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Okay, I zoom in a lot more. Hello, everyone. TikTok is playing with me. So I have no idea what the heck just happened. Alright. Okay. That was flipping weird. And I'm saying that word very gently. But you know what I want to say. Okay, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, I just wanted to zoom, and then all of a sudden, it just went, nope, rejection, and kicked me out. For shame. Anywho, as I was saying before we were so rudely interrupted, my darlings, if we ever have an absolute value that's set to a negative number, okay, we automatically have no solution. Okay, so once we subtracted 7 on both sides, okay, once we subtracted the 7 on both sides, we got a positive 2. So we're good. But if for chance, I don't know, I wanted to subtract a 17 and my result would have been a negative number, right away, boom, stop, you're done. There's no solution. That's it. Okay, no solution. We're back. Hopefully everyone comes back, but all the important people are still here. I don't know. It's all kinds of crazy. All right. So Continuing on, as I was saying, we have two solutions or two equations to come from our absolute value because it equals a positive number. So we're going to write exactly what we see without the absolute value. So we're going to have 3x minus 7 equals 2. Okay? So you're writing exactly what you see without the absolute value. Now, I know a lot of people will say, oh, you're going to change the sign. Yes, for the second equation, yes, we are. But we're not touching a blessed thing inside of that absolute value. Okay? It's like, don't touch. Don't touch it. Okay? So, in fact, let me see if I can find. So we write what we see, which is our 3x minus 7. But this time, it's going to equal the negative 2. Okay? Remember we were talking a little bit about the positive and the negative. Regardless if we do have an absolute value, you will always get a positive answer. So that's what we're doing. We're doing it in two things. The things that's changing is what it equals. So one of them is exactly what you see, but the other one is going to be its opposite. All right? So now you're going to solve those two equations, but you're going to solve them separately. Don't get too crazy. I know some of you guys are advanced. It's all right. Okay? So if anything, we're going to cover up this side, and then we're going to build up. So we're going to add 7 on both sides. Then we have 3x is equal to 9. Then we divide both sides by 3. Then you have x is equal to 3. Okay, so that's going to be one of my solutions. Good. There you go. So now we're going to take the stance of the other side. So we have 3x minus 7 is equal to negative 2. So again, I'm going to add 7 on both sides. But this time, it's not going to equal 9. You have your 3x. This time it's going to equal 5. Because negative 2 plus 7, that will give me my 5. I have $7. I spent 2 of them. I got $5. All right? So now I want to divide both sides by 3. So 3 divided by 3 will give me my x. And then we have our 5/3. Now, I know some of you are probably like, do we keep it as an improper or do we change it? Well, here's the thing. Once you do your answer, if you're taking the GED, the ASVAB, the ACCUPLACER, any of those standardized tests, take a look at your answers. Don't go right into, oh, okay, I got to change into a mixed number, because you might be doing extra work that you don't need to do. So when you come to the standardized test, it is different than what you would normally do inside the classroom. Okay, so although you got these as your two answers, let me shrink in a little bit. Okay, you got those as your two answers, but take a look at your answer choice to see what will match up. If you notice that you got a lot of improper or mixed numbers, then take this improper fraction and make it into a mix. Okay, majority of the time, it's still going to just be 5/3. All right. Okay. Thank you so much for staying around, guys. I greatly appreciate it. All right, so let's do another one. trying to think all my stuff. Okay. So if we have our, let's try this one. It's like when you have everything situated, then all of a sudden your pen dies. You're like, oh, no. All right. Good night, everyone. Good night, good night, good night. Hello, Lisa. How are you? All right. So, the next one we have is the absolute value of, I'll stick with the x theme, x minus 4. And we're saying plus 9 is equal to 11. I'm all right. I'm doing okay. Thank you for the rose, COH. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for sharing the live. I know you're like, let's bring all those people back. And I'm like, hey, if it's fine. You know? It's the ones that want to learn, they're here. I know where my true religion lies, and it's not in the genes. Okay, so we have this absolute value. So what's the very first thing that we have to do? What is the very first thing we have to do? I don't know why everything's cockeyed. Okay. It's kind of saying minus the 9, Jess minus the 9, Lisa minus the 9. Bryology? Bryology, sorry. Subtract 9 from both sides. Okay, look, Cole. Oh my goodness. We're bringing everyone back. Minus 9. Okay, get it by itself. Good. Hey, Machiavelli, how are you? I'm doing a lot better today. I am, actually. Definitely took a lot of time. Again, I've been up all day. For no reason. I don't know. Okay, so yes. So we're going to subtract this 9 on both sides. So positive and minus that negative. Then we have our absolute value of x minus 4. And this time it's going to equal 2. So now, since it equals a positive after we did that isolation, now we can do our two equations. So we write what we see without the absolute value. So that will be my x minus 4 is equal to 2. Okay, so that's one of them. And then the other one will have it equal to the negation of 2. So we're just going to flip that sign. So x minus 4 stays exactly the same. You rewrite exactly what you see. But this time you're going to make it equal negative 2. Okay, so the only things that's changing signs is, let me unzoom. The only things that's changing signs is what it equals. Okay, that's the only thing that's changing the signs. So, let's get started. Yes, thank you. Appreciate it. All right. So, let's start with our blue one. So I'm going to cover up the red for a second. And now we're going to focus here on this blue one. So that means we have x minus 4 equals 2. So we are going to add the 4. Always do the inverse. Add the 4 on both sides. Negative 4 plus 4 gives me 0. Don't need the 0 as a placeholder because I still have this x that comes down. So now 2 plus 4, that gives me my 6. Okay, good. Okay, so the absolute values, so what one dude? So when you're breaking it down, once you isolate it, now we're doing and solving. We're solving the x. So what we're doing is we're taking what's inside the absolute value and whatever we see, so we don't bring the absolute values anymore. Because almost like what I'm doing here, we had a negative absolute value of negative 24 and the absolute value of 24. Both gives me a positive answer of 24. So notice the result is outside of the absolute value. So we're using that philosophy to find our two answers that will make this original equation a true statement. Okay, so that's why the absolute values are gone. All right. Okay. So now we're going into plus 4 again. But don't think because we're adding 4 over here and we're adding 4 over here, we're going to get the same answers. No. Okay, so negative 4 plus 4. This will bring down my x. Now we have a negative 2 plus 4. So signs are opposite, so that means we're subtracting. If I have $4 and I spent 2, that means I still got $2 left in my pocket. Okay. So our two solutions that's going to make this into a true statement, we're saying is probably 6 and 2. If you want to see, if I plug that 6 back in for the x, 6 minus 4 gives me 2. The absolute value of 2 is 2. 2 plus 9, 11. That works out. If I plug the 2 in, so I have 2 minus 4, that gives me a negative 2. So the absolute value of a negative 2 is also 2. 2 plus 9, 11. Okay, so that works. These are the two solutions that makes this this absolute value a true statement. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Shell. Okay, let's try another one. Let's dig a little deeper. Just a smidge. A little smidgen, okay? Nothing too crazy. So let's try this one. See if you guys can see. Yes, not a problem. And they always throw one of these equations in just for giggles, especially for ASVAB. ASVAB and ACCUPLACER, they always throw a question like this in there. And you're like, really? And once you see how you do it, you're going to be like, really? Really? Okay, not a problem. All right, so like something's really tilted, go off kilter. All right, what should I do first? Just based off of what we know, what should I do first? Okay, not a problem, Stefan. Okay, not sure. Thank you for your honesty, Normalized. I like that. Thank you. So you're saying one question mark. Okay. So Jess, we're saying we're going to add the 4. Good. Nicole, add the 4. Okay. Jose, we're adding the 4. Okay. Just BB, got that. So here we go. First, we need to isolate that absolute value. So we're going to add 4 on both sides. So negative 4 plus 4, they cancel out. Now, bringing down my absolute value of y, and it equals 1. Beautiful thing. Okay? Now, similar to what we're doing, we got to make our two equations. And you're like, what? Why is it two equations? Like, we really just have one answer. No. We always have a positive and a negative when it comes to absolute values, okay? And trust me, they always just put the positive as one of the answers, and then they put the both answers in as one of the options. So we're going to write what we see. So that's going to be y is equal to 1. And hey, that is one of our answers. Dun, dun. Okay, but now we have to do the opposite. So y is equal to -1. That's your solution. Okay. Hey, classy lady, how are you? Okay, that is your solution. That's it. Yep, just those two answers. And believe it or not, if this was ACCUPLACER, this would be probably a 3-point question, because a lot of people will normally just write the one answer and that's it. Just by putting the second answer, 3 points. Boom, right there. Okay. So anything we can get you more points without feeling like you have to give 100%. Like, guys, you don't have to pass these exams with 100. It'll be lovely. It'll be amazing. You don't get extra money. You don't get an award or a trophy or maybe a certificate. You don't get anything. You just get a class. Hey, how you doing? All right. So if anything, you want to pass it. You want to do the best that you can. But remember, don't let this test define you. Okay? Any of those tests. It doesn't matter. TEAS test, GED, high school equivalent, ASVAB, ACCUPLACER. You're basically showing your math skills. You're showing that you know how to read, you know how to put things into perspective, and how to solve and find a solution. Okay? That's all they want. All right? So please, don't stress yourself. I know, right? Okay, how is -1? Well, remember, when we talk about absolute values, I'm not sure when you came in, my user, all that. Okay? When we're talking about absolute values is basically your distance away from 0. So you can go 4 blocks away in the positive direction. You can go 4 blocks away in the negative direction. Either way, you're still 4 blocks away from maybe your home. Okay? So that's why your absolute values, your answers are always positive, because it is your distance away from 0. So you have to represent not only the positive, but also the negative. Okay, so that's why when we isolated our absolute value, we had to write what we normally see. Thank you so much, Adams. I appreciate that. So you have to write what you see, which is that y equals 1. But then you have to write the opposite of 1, which is your -1. Okay? So that's why we have those two. Okay? Does that make sense? Thank you so much for the love, guys. I appreciate that. Are you good, user? All of that? Okay. Aww. All right. It's new to you? Okay. No problem. Keep asking questions. That's the only way we can learn. The only way. Okay? Remember, this is not like back in high school where people were afraid to ask questions. We're not doing any of that. Okay? That's the old you. All right. So now we have 3 with the absolute value of -4x minus 2 plus 2. You're like, ooh, equals 56. You're like, she has officially lost her mind. Well, you know, we're all one step away from being arrested. Okay. Where were you when I was in school? Mickey, we were probably in the same class. Hello, Sharon. Oh, you're studying to take your T's? Okay, awesome. So seriously, ask questions because this is also in the T's. Sometimes they'll have it somewhat complex like this, or it might be simplified as this. Okay, so I like to show different ways, challenge us a little bit, but walk you through it. Okay, this is too much. No, it's not, Jave. No. No, it's not. Breathe. Because we're going to take it step by step. All right, now, just like we mentioned, we need to isolate. We want to isolate all of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this up. So in order for me to isolate what's over here, what needs to go? Okay? What needs to go? If I sign up for a class. It's awesome. Oh, you guys are awesome. There we go. Good. Jess saying -2. Kaya -2. Maria -2. There you go, Jess BB, -2. Okay, I am quad. Remember, you want to do the opposite. So we're gonna do something with the +2, but we're gonna do the opposite. So we're going to subtract 2 on both sides. So +2 minus 2 cancels out. So now we got 56 minus 2. What does that give me? What's 56 minus 2? I know, I don't want to kill your intelligence, but I know you got this. There we go. Okay, Kaya with 54. Good. Jess, nice. Hidden name. Good. W. I'm quad. Good. Lori, good. Maria, excellent, guys. See? You can do this. We got this. All right, so now all this other stuff that was up here that we covered, we're going to bring that down. So here we go with that absolute value. So we have -4x minus 2. I'm going to make it into a different color just so you can see it a little clearer. All right, so now let's see, where's my other paper so I can be like, ignore this. Now focus on this. See, does this alleviate a lot of that tension? I know it does. Okay. So now we need to isolate the absolute value. What could we get rid of next? No, it doesn't alleviate it. Not even a little bit. There you go. Maria saying 3. Okay, the 3. Good. Just the 3. Yeah. Tish, the 3. Riley, the 3. Divide by 3. Yes. Okay. So this 3 is being multiplied because look, in between the 3 and the absolute value, I don't see a plus or a minus sign. So that means this 3 is being multiplied to that absolute value. So you do the opposite or the inverse of multiplication, which is division. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. Okay. So 3 divided by 3 will give me a 1. We don't have to write the 1. You can have fun with that because anything times 1 is itself. So I'm going to bring down the absolute value of -4x minus 2. And then what's my 54 divided by 3? What we got? Okay, 54 divided by 3. What do we got? Let's see what we got there. All right, Jane. Hey, Jane said 18. Okay, Kai say 18. User 18. Just BB. Look, you're still sticking with me, Just BB. I love it. Just 18. Tish. Is it Talisha? Hold on. Tashila? You're gonna have to help me, girl. Okay. Hidden, not negative? No, it's not negative. Okay? Because we didn't split it up yet. So you're already trying to go ahead. Slow it down. All right, so Adam, 18. Hidden name, 17. Sab, 18. Hey, Random, how are you? Okay, you're so lost. Okay, Yummy, we just got here. It's okay. Tish, Ella. Okay, there we go. Thank you. Because there's a lot of power in a name. Okay, so if I ever screw up anybody's name, please correct me. Because that's the only way I can learn, right? All right. Good. We got Maria. Good. We got Sharon. Good. Amelia. Good for 18. Excellent, guys. Now, going to hide this part. So now we're at the section where we can split them into two equations. The reason why is we isolated our absolute value and we have our constant on the other side. That's how you know when you're about to go into the split. So one equation is going to be what I see without the absolute value. So that's my negative 4x minus 2 equals 18. Okay, let's solve this one because I know my room is all kinds of crazy. Now, I want to add both sides with my 2. Okay, I'm just going to just solve this equation real quick. Now we have our negative 4x is equal to 18 plus 2, which gives us 20. What does my x equal? Hey, Danny, how are you? Oh, you typed it wrong? Okay. All right. So we got Danny with a negative 5. Tommy's thinking about 4 or negative 5. Which one is it, Tommy? What do you think? Make a decision, darling. Okay. Jane saying that. Tashella saying negative 5. Danny negative 5. Jess saying plus 4. Just take a look at it. Okay, you're saying for both of those. Miss Independent saying negative 5. Brenda negative 5. Just BB, I love how you're still sticking with me. Negative 5. Mickey negative 5. Sabe, don't forget the negative. Lori, don't forget the negative. User, all that. Don't forget the negative. Okay? Because the sign inside the absolute value, we rewrite the whole thing as we see it. Okay? We do not touch anything inside. We're changing the outside later. Okay? I think we're all starting to change our negative 4x to positive 4x, and that's why we're getting different answers. All right, so divide both sides by negative 4. Then we get our x is equal to negative 5. That's one of our lovely solutions. All right. Yep, you divide the negative 4 on both sides. Okay, because our 4 is negative. All right. So now that's that one equation. Now we need to do the other equation. So the other equation is exactly what we see, which is my negative 4x minus 2. And it's going to equal the opposite of 18, which is negative 18. All right. So now we just have to solve this bad boy. Let me cover all of this stuff up. So we need to solve this with x. Yes, good, Kaya. So we are going to be adding our 2 on both sides, just like how we did the other equation. So negative 2, positive 2 will give me 0. So we don't need the 0 because we still have this negative 4x. Bring that bad boy down. So negative 18 plus 2. You owe me $18. I'm going to say it very nicely. I want my money, but you gave me $2. At least you're giving me something. How much do you owe me? There we go. Okay, so we have to watch our signs. Good. Just negative 16. Miss Independent, negative 16. Okay, just BB. Remember, you owe me money, boo-boo. If you owe me money and you gave me $2, you don't keep $22 in cents. Okay? Right. There you go. Good. All right, negative 16. No problem. All right, good. There we go. So we have our negative 16. Okay? I'm not sure how you're getting a negative 5 out of this, Jaslyn. Okay, maybe from the last one, but not this one. Okay, good, user. Now we got negative 16. There we go, Jaslyn. Thank you, thank you. Brenda, awesome. Tomas, awesome. Okay, yes, but we're not dividing by 4, my pink flower. What are we dividing by? Okay, what are we dividing by? There we go. Good. Christina, thank you. Negative 4. Tomas, negative 4. Kai, negative 4. Jaslyn, negative 4. I think that's a cross or a shooting star. We'll see. Tell me what that is. Negative 4 AM quad. There you go. Negative 4. Okay, make sure we're dividing by this negative 4. Excellent. Okay, we divide by negative 4. Negative 4 divided by negative 4 gives me 1x or just x. Now, negative 16 and negative divided by negative. This is where some of you guys are typing in 4 for the answer. Got it. I'm over here chastising you guys, and you're just giving me an answer. Awesome. Yes. Okay. Not negative 20. Why are we going backwards, Miss Independence? You okay? Okay. There we go. Nice. That's it. Yes. So, Caps, I love how you're saying this is too easy. This is awesome. I love that. I love the confidence. I love that. But remember, I love to help people that have always struggled in math. So we just sit here, we take our time, we break it down, we build up our confidence. So trust me, I love you all. I love the fact that you want to come here. But if you feel that it's too slow, that's fine. You know, you can always scroll. All right? Okay. Yeah, you're trying to tell me. Hey, Big Al, how are you? Yep, just constant practice. That's all it is. Okay. Okay, there you go. So, now, this is using with equations. Now, just like I mentioned, I'm just going to throw that over here on this little space that I have here, because I'm going to do the inequalities on the other side. But if I ever have, I'll put it in blue, why not? If I ever have, like, say, absolute value, and I have x plus 5, and let's say we're going to like add 4 equals 1. Okay. I want to solve this. Okay. What I would do to solve it, first step, I need to isolate my absolute value. So here, I would subtract 4 on both sides. What happens when I subtract 4 on both sides? Pain of your existence? You would get a negative number, a negative 3, in fact. There you go, I am quad. Good job. So if we have the absolute value, x plus 5, and it gives us a negative number before we do any splitting, this is no solution. Right off the bat. Okay? We cannot have our equation from the beginning, not from us splitting it by representing the positive and the negative of the number, of the distance direction. If it starts with a negative before I do any of my splitting, right away it's a no solution. Hands down. So they might try to be a little slick and give you a question that was just like solve for x. If it already starts with a negative number and it's an equation, no solution. Bubble it, circle it, move on. You don't have to do anything else. And then think about all that extra time that you're getting that you can spend on another problem that's really giving you a little bit of trouble. Okay? So knowing a little bit of things here and there and also doing the process of elimination can save you so much time with the GED, the ASVAB, the ACCUPLACER. Okay? Any of those assistants. Right. You can't have... Yeah, Robert, exactly what we said earlier. You can't have a negative distance. Okay? It is your distance away from 0. Okay? So even though I have one friend that's over here that's 4 blocks away, another friend that's 4 blocks away, even though it's 4 blocks away in a different direction, but it's still 4 blocks. Okay? You can't have negative 4 blocks of distance. All right? Okay. So that is looking at equations. Okay, while we're here, if you can do a little bit of math tapping, I would greatly appreciate it. Do I have private tutoring? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I've been having lots of phone calls lately, so hey, let's keep it going. All right, if you do, let me unzoom a lot and see if I don't kick myself out the live. Okay, so if you do, you can just go here. You can go to my bio if you want. You have like private and we have small group tutoring. So if a lot of you guys are taking say college algebra starting next week, I think there's a lot of college classes that are starting exactly next week, and you need assistance and there's like a small group of you guys, I don't do anything more than 5 people. 5 is the absolute biggest I will go, because I still want to make sure I give you guys the attention that you need if you have questions to feel safe enough to ask them. So you can definitely go here and to fill out the contact form, or if you go to the bottom of your screen, if you're on your phone, it's called Service Plus. You can click that, and that is another way you can contact me. It will take me directly to my email. So definitely message me there. So it says Service Plus. Just click on that section or just click on that button. And then you just send me a quick email. Tell me what course you want to take or what do you need assistance with. And then we can take it from there. All right. Okay. So no, this is not geometry. It's like Algebra 1. Okay. Am I doing inequalities? Yep, I will be doing that next. Okay, hey Lynette. Now, if for some sick and twisted reason, maybe you guys are currently in school and you need to go to bed soon, and you're like, man, I really want to sit and watch, but I'm tired, you can go here, okay? Hey Lynette. So you can go here, type in ACG Math Tutoring, or my name, Audrey Codner, and I would love for you to do these 5 things, okay? Just so you have it. All of my recordings with TikToks are there, all of them since February the 2nd. So, and it's right all in the playlist called TikTok Lives. I know, it's really deep with the name. But you can go ahead, take a look there. There are a couple shorts there. So if you just want something quick and dirty, you nasty. So you can like just take a quick look at how to do something, and you can always fast forward. You can always rewind, do whatever you need to do in order for you to get the knowledge that you need. Okay. So free subscription, go ahead, have fun with that. All right. And if you like my books, okay, this is a book that I actually designed for a lot of my tutoring people, but then all of a sudden it started expanding. So you can have your formulas, you can have your steps. If you have some steps written, it also gives you some room to write on one side as well as the other side. And not only do you have those steps, you also have resources in the back. So we have a factor sheet from 1 to 200. We have words and phrases and formulas to kind of help you remember. Then we have like the order of operation, properties of exponents, linear and quadratic equations, as well as, decimal operation, fractions operation, how to go from percent to decimal, decimal to percent, all that fun stuff. And this one that I'm actually working in is for my pre-algebra to algebra kids. So these are the resources here. I have to go and get my Algebra 2 and pre-calculus books because it's been back and forth, but finally it got them released from the Big A. So they are available, ready for you. You can buy on the Big A, or you can actually go to my bookstore, my personal bookstore right here that's highlighted, so you can get your notebooks. And I'm currently working on a math book to kind of help people out with their GED, the ASVAB, the ACCUPLACER, all that fun stuff, right? All right. So here we go. Thank you so much for the taps and so much of the love. I greatly appreciate it. All right. So now, what I am planning on is taking a look in a book and reading Rainbow. All right. So, if anything, we're going to be looking at inequalities. So let's see, if we did 3, the absolute value of 4x minus 1 is less than or equal to 9. Okay, so this whole less than sign we got to worry about. But right now we got less than or equal to. So I think we should be okay. One of the things we don't want for inequality signs is for it to be less than 0. Remember how we said that we don't want our things to have a negative number? Well, we don't want our inequalities to be less than 0. Because less than 0 will mean that we're dealing with negative numbers. So let's get to solving just like we did earlier. So right now we don't have a plus or minus anything, but we do have 3 times that absolute value. So no problem, Andy. Got you. We're just getting started with the inequalities. So all kinds of fun and entertaining. So since I don't see a plus or a minus sign in between the 3 and the absolute value, that means I'm multiplying this 3 to the absolute value. So the opposite or the inverse of multiplication is division. And we did that on the other side. Okay. Yep. So 3 divided by 3 will give us our 1. So what comes down is the absolute value of 4x minus 1 is less than or equal to. Now remember, this changed direction when you divide by a negative. Okay? Sometimes it works out. I'm going to let you know in a second. But this time we have 9 divided by 3. That gives me 3. So since this is a positive number, okay, yes, we're going less than. Now, let me cover up so we can focus. So now we have 2 inequalities. We're still going to do 2 inequalities. The first one is going to be exactly what you see minus the absolute values. So it will be 4x minus 1 is less than or equal to 3. That's going to be your first inequality. Now, the second inequality is when you're going to negate this number. But when I negate this, I also have to change the direction of the inequality. Okay, you still with me? So write what you see, which is our 4x minus 1. Instead of less than or equal to, it's going to flip to greater than or equal to. And instead of a positive 3, it will be a negative 3. Okay, are you still with me? You're okay? Okay, so the first thing we had to do, nice, Andy, thank you. First, we had to divide both sides by positive 3. Once we did that, we got our absolute value by itself on one side of the inequality, and we got 3 as the result from dividing 9 divided by 3. So now we have to do 2 inequalities. One is exactly what you see minus the absolute values. And the other one, the absolute value, what's inside, is out here. And then you change the direction of inequality and you negate it. So now, let's solve one inequality at a time. Let me cover this up and let me cover this up. So we can really just focus on one thing at a time. So, what do I do first so I can solve for x? What needs to happen first? Okay. Yes, Jess. Because when it comes to absolute values, Nanny, like the absolute value is always the distance away from 0. So if we go in the negative direction, the absolute value of negative 4 is 4. The absolute value of positive 4 is still 4. Okay, so you're representing the positives and the negative direction. Okay, so yes, we're going to add 1 to both sides. Okay, negative 1 plus 1, that cancels out. So it brings down my 4x less than or equal to 3 plus 1, not to insult your intelligence. We got our 4. No problem. All right, so now we have to divide both sides by 4. Okay. Yeah, so we're dividing both sides by 4. Good. So that means we have x, and then 4 divided by 4 gives me a 1. But since we divided by a positive 4, that means our inequality sign stays exactly the same. So I'm just bringing it on down. So x is less than or equal to 1. There you go, Danny. Thank you. Nice, Marissa. Good. All right. So that takes care of that one. Now I'm going to cover that bad boy up and focus on the opposite one. What should I do first? Why -1 instead of +1? Because that's the original. And then plus when you divide a positive divide by a positive, that gives you positive. Okay, so adding 1 on both sides. -1 plus 1 cancels out, brings down the 4x greater than or equal to -3 plus 1 gives me a -2. Okay. Okay. Nope, there is a solution. Okay, there is a solution. Because it's when before I split them up. Like if this was a negative, if this 3 was a -3, that will be a no solution. Okay, but since it's already split up, that's perfectly fine. Oops. All right. Okay, cool. All right, so now if we divide by 4, so we're dividing by a +4, so my inequality is not changing. Even though the result is coming down as a negative, but I didn't divide by a negative. So that's why the inequality sign will stay the same. But then we have a -2/4, which could be reduced to what? Okay, not 2. If it was 4 divided by 2, yes. But it's 2 divided by 4. And it is going to be negative. There we go, Joel. There we go. Nice, Robert. Money Tree K, good. El Mexicano, good. Okay, so we're flipping it, right? Understanding 25, yes. Danny, yes. You can scratch off that question mark. Very good. The reason why it is a -1/2, because 2 and 4, they both have 2 in common. So if I divide both the numerator and the denominator to simplify by 2, -2 divided by 2 will give me a -1. And 4 divided by 2 will give me 2. Because that's all reducing is. Just dividing, making things smaller. Okay, God is love. Yes, -1/2. Thank you so much. Good. And thank you for the reminder. All right. Okay. How are we feeling? Oh, well, thank you, Jocelyn. Praise it. Appreciate it. Okay, good. All right. See, Just BB? I'm so glad you stuck with it. Okay. It's easy enough to say, I don't know. I'd rather you say, I'm not sure, can you show me? Instead of just giving up. Please. Our days of just giving up is over. Okay? We got to try things. We got to take a little bit of risk in order to reap the reward. There we go. Not a problem. Nope, we don't have to flip the sign. The reason why? Because we didn't divide by a negative number. We got a negative result, but we didn't divide by a negative number. Okay. Oh, okay. Yes, please. Sure. Okay. So to order my book, you can go here. I know I can't say it, or I shouldn't be saying it, because, TikTok will reprimand me. Too many reprimands. Do you always work on the side with the X first? I just happen to do that, Danny. I don't know. It's just a thing. I don't know why. I just feel like since we read from left to right, I always go left to right. Now, do you have to? No, you don't have to, but it'll be nice. All right. Yeah, so Money Tree, please don't hesitate to ask. And if anything, for anyone else that's here, if you go here and you type in this, okay, you'll see all of my lives up to yesterday, from February 2nd up to here. And there are some that repeats. So there may be some things that you may need to reach out for. So if you want to, you can go ahead and subscribe. You can like, comment, share, turn on the notifications. Just do those 5 things. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, if you like my notes and you want copies of my notes, you can actually buy copies of my notes. I am currently working on book, what is this? This is book 6. So I have books 1 through 5, and it's called Audrey's Notes. So with Audrey's Notes, you actually are getting copies of my notes. And what happens is I connect the QR code. If you scan the QR code, it will take you directly to the live that contains my header. So then you have, this one's from like April 21st, and we're talking about distance, rate, and time word problems. So you'll actually can scan this and follow along. So this is great for like enrichment. It's great for like remediation. So people homeschool parents as well. If you just want to get another assistant. So instead of you just looking at my YouTube channel trying to figure out where to go and what are the notes saying, they can actually follow along. Okay, so it gives you like the formulas over here. Sometimes it gives you the steps, but for the most part, this is just my notes. So this is not going to have the resources in the back. That's from my Ultimate Math Notebook. Okay, so sometimes I feel like I have to emphasize this. Like this one has, and plus for me, I don't have anything consistent. So that's the main reason I come on here to show my tutoring style, I guess we can say, or my teaching style, and break concepts down at the same time to help build you guys up. Break this thing called math phobia. And so you'll be able to break down math concepts and to, sell my tutoring services, sell my books. So if anything, this is just all my notes that I have on TikTok. So if you want those, that's what Audrey's Notes is all about. And this is book 3. So books 1 through 5 is available. Same place where I can get my notebook. Or you can get it off of the A. The A with the box with the smiley face. Yeah. Because I can't say that word either. So the way that I do it, Danny, is I always say to myself, the first equation that I'm going to write, it's going to be basically exactly what I see without the absolute value. And this has to be positive. If this is negative, I can't go any further. It's no solution. Okay, if it's negative. If it's like definitely anything less than 0, I can't do it. It'll be a no solution. But if it's already positive, the first inequality I write is exactly the same thing I see here, minus the absolute value. And then the second equation is the one that's going to carry the negative. But if they're doing inequalities, I have to flip the direction of the inequality and make it negative. Yeah, the A. Okay. Does that help? All right. Because we're definitely going to do another one. Got like 2 more inequalities within me. And then I get to take a shower and pass out. I feel like that's all I do nowadays is just pass out. Like, it's getting kind of crazy. I don't know. I'll figure my life out one day. One day. Okay. Yes, definitely. And knowing me, probably wake up in the middle of the night. Let's see. Where's my other? Ooh, this one's going to be a little tricky, but I think this should work. This is going to be a little bit tricky, but I'm going to be here to walk you through it. Because the inequalities is a little bit meh. That's the best way I can define it. So I mean, like, how would I know where or not to start by adding? Yeah, I need a vacation because I'm taking vitamins. That's why my butt is still up at this time. That's why I still have energy to do this. I hate to say it, I just need God's promise to kick in a little sooner than most. Let's put it that way. Okay. So, we are solving for x. Okay. So, we want to get our absolute value isolated. So right now, excuse me for a second. So right now, we want to get this by itself. So if I cover that up, that means I need to get rid of this minus 3. Yes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3 so I can isolate my absolute value. So let me add 3 here, and I'm going to add 3 over here. So negative 3 plus 3, that will give me a 0. So we don't have to worry about that. So now I just need to bring down my absolute value of x plus 1 is less than or equal to negative 3 plus 3, which gives me 0. Okay. With functions, yeah, I did some stuff with functions on my on YT. So definitely take a look. Yeah, definitely take a look, because I'm not going to do functions, renewing functions for a minute. So I really want to get all the basic stuff done now. So if you come here and you look up this, okay, with the tutoring, you'll see all my videos on there. Okay? You're no problem. All right. So we isolate N1. This is saying less than or equal to 0. Remember we were saying we don't want anything less than 0, because less than 0, that means I'm dealing with negatives. But here's the thing. It says less than or equal to 0. So that means we can just focus on the 0. We don't need to focus on anything lower than 0, because that's going to give us a no solution, right? So what we can do, this is what I said, this is going to be a little tricky. But what we can do is write what we see. So what we see is x plus 1 is less than or equal to 0. But since we don't want the less than or equal to, or the less than, because if we do the less than, it's going to be a no solution. We can't have a number that's less than 0. Those are your negative numbers. So what we can do is focus on the equal to. That means we can set it equal to 0. Okay? This only happens in these lovely situations when the sign is less than or equal to and it says 0. We can't do the less than because it's going to give us those no solutions, but we can do the equals. So what do we get? Hey Janice, what do we get for x? Danny's saying -1. Kai saying -1, Isaac saying -1, Jess saying -1. Okay, Big Al, good, -1. Okay, God is love's -1, good. What about if it's greater than? If it's greater than just BB, then we can do what we've been doing, which is splitting it into two different inequalities. Good question. Thank you. Yep. But because it had that restriction, can't do it. So x is equal to -1. Okay. And you're probably like, well, why didn't we just do a minus? Stop. The reason why 0 is not positive nor negative. You only got one thing. 0, boom, nothing, nada, zilch, goose egg. Okay, you got none. You broke. No, I'm just saying. Okay, so that's why in this situation we couldn't do the less than because that's going to give me undefined. But we just focus on the equals because we can't split the 0 to do one positive and one negative. 0 is neither positive nor negative, so we can't really do it. But we can focus on the equal part of it. So that's why this -1 is the only solution that will make this inequality a true statement. Because if I plug the -1 for the x, I would get 0. The absolute value of 0 is 0. So -3 plus 0 gives me -3. And this is a true statement because -3 is less than or equal to. A lot of us to say negative and equal. No, it's a less than or equal to -3. Okay. I know, it's a lot. doing this again. Still a little lost? Okay, not a problem. Not a problem. Because I think for most of us, we haven't gone so deep with some of the rules, or we really haven't done inequalities. Okay, a lot of people are so focused on when they do the absolute values, they do with the equal signs, or they do what's called complex inequalities sometimes, but they don't really spend too much time with these, which is a shame. Let's see if I can do one more. I don't know when I'm going to do these again. But if anything, you know, I'll have the recording, so at least you can kind of follow along with that. Okay, let's see. I don't want to end with that. Let's end with this. So if we have 2, absolute value of x minus 9 plus 6 is greater than 6. Here we go. Okay, we're going to do one more. Take it step by step. What's the name of this book you're using? I'm on the site. Oh, the Ultimate Math Notebook. This one is for pre-algebra to algebra 1. Yes. And also, I did start a left-handed series. So if anyone's trying to get a math notebook just in time for school, and you are a lefty, I also have a left-handed notebook. This is also for pre-algebra to algebra 1. Okay, but again, it's for my lefties. All right. And then you get the same resources just like all the other ones. So if you want a left-handed notebook, you can. Okay, people are starting to get interest in that, which is awesome. Yeah, both my parents are left-handed. Okay. All right, so we want to isolate our absolute value first. Okay, what do you think is the first thing that we'll have to get rid of or move so my absolute value could be by itself on the left-hand side? Okay, good, Jess. Good, Money Tree. Okay, not yet, Kez. Okay, not yet, because we still have this plus 6 that's hanging around, right? So we need to get rid of that first. So let's subtract that 6 on both sides. Okay, positive 6 minus 6 will give me a 0, but I don't need that 0 because I still have this 2 with the absolute value of x minus 9, and then it still is greater than, but it's greater than 0. Okay, so far we're good because it's greater than 0. So that means I'm dealing with positive numbers here, which is awesome. Okay, so we don't have to worry too much about restrictions. But what should I do next so I can get my absolute value by itself? Okay, Now this is when you divide the 2. Okay, good. So we're not subtracting the 2, because if I don't see a plus or a minus sign in between the number and the absolute value sign, that means this is multiplication. So when it's right next to each other like that, that's multiplication. So the inverse of multiplication is division. Okay, good. All right. So now, once we got that, 2 divided by 2, that gives me 1. So that means I can bring down my absolute value of x minus 9 is greater than, we don't have to flip the direction of the sign because we are dividing by a positive number, is greater than 0 divided by 2, which is 0. Okay, yes. Okay, are we okay at this part? Okay, we took a lot of things in. So we have to isolate our absolute value. First, we had to get rid of this plus 6 by subtracting 6 on both sides. Then we had to get rid of the 2, so we divide both sides by 2. So now we're here. Okay. All right. So we have our 0. Okay. So since 0 is neither positive or negative, we don't have to make 2 inequalities. We just need the 1. And we can still keep it as an inequality if we want to. So we're going to have what we see. I see x minus 9. Bring down the inequality, which is greater than 0. Okay. We're okay so far. Hey, how are you? You're at school all day? Not a problem. All right, so we're going to add 9 on both sides. Actually, we do have to do 2 inequalities. We just don't have to worry about the signage. Are we good so far? So we add 9. Right now, solving absolute values. Yes, we are going to have to do the other one too. But we don't have to flip the numbers around. We don't have to flip the numbers around. We just have to flip the inequality. Because it's still going to be a positive 9. Because if I do it that, you can. All right. So now we have one of our solutions. Okay. So x is greater than 9. But we still have to flip this sign. So I'm used to seeing it this way. Write what we see. But if we flip that, okay, I can see why. Because it's still supposed to be a positive 9. Because we can't have a negative 0. That doesn't make any sense. And then for us to have our negation. Yeah, because if I have it that way, no, never mind. I keep going. That's how I'm getting tired. Okay, so write what we see, but we're going to flip the inequality. We can't make 0 a negative because it doesn't make sense. 0 is neither positive nor negative. It's like Switzerland. So what we do is we add 9 on both sides, just like how we did the others. So now we have x is less than 9. Okay. So we have 2. We're dealing when x is greater than 9, and we're dealing when x is less than 9. But notice it's not when x is equal to 9, because we just have a greater than symbol when we first started. It doesn't have an equal to sign. We had to flip it because we had to get a little negation. Right. So basically it's anything, but it's not equal to 9. The Ultimate Math Notebook. Okay, you're welcome. And this one is for pre-algebra and algebra 1. Yeah. So remember when, let me slide back to this one. So when you have your inequalities, you basically write what you see. Now remember, if we're going to look at absolute values, when it comes to absolute value of like negative 24 is what I use for example. So I'm not sure if you're here for that part. So if I did the absolute value of negative 24 and the absolute value of 24 will both give me the same results. Because absolute values is basically the distance away from 0. Okay? So if your house is 4 blocks away from my house and my other friend's house is 4 blocks away from my house but in the opposite direction, it's still 4 blocks when it comes to distance. So you're looking at both ends. When it comes to inequalities, especially when our answer, our result here is positive, we're looking at the positive version of that absolute value. And then we're also looking at the negative version of our absolute value. So we have to flip the inequality and we have to negate the result. But the thing that was tricky with the last couple examples is because we got 0. 0 is neither positive nor negative. But we still have to have its representation of write down what we see and then notice the signs are opposite directions. Okay, that's why we have to throw that in there. Rewatch this one? Yeah, not a problem. I mean, it's you guys are used to seeing the equations, not so much the inequalities. So, there's going to be some stuff that's going to be like, yeah, this is not really sticking at 11 o'clock at night. And that's understandable, okay? So sometimes you got to remember, when you're in class, you don't just learn one thing in like one session and that's it. No, you do practice. Hopefully you do activities. You try to do things with your hands, make it more tangible so it kind of sticks in your brain a little bit. Okay, so this is probably going to be one of those things. Okay. All right. Okay, everyone. So, as I mentioned, this is like absolute values. I forgot what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. But tomorrow is what? Friday? Is it Friday? Yeah, Friday already. So I will be on at 7 p.m. tomorrow. Yeah, I don't do 1 o'clocks anymore because I got a student during that time. But Fridays, Saturday, and Sundays will be on at 7 p.m. So I know I'm probably going to be looking at some more functions, as well as I want to kind of go back into plotting points and just basically going into how to graph a line. These are some of the things that some of my students are bringing up to me right now. And yeah, the struggle is for real. So we're going to get all this stuff done. Okay, so when I say I'm going back to the basics, I'm trying to go back to some of the basics, okay, with a little bit of advancement like we did with the absolute values. Okay, all right, not a problem. Okay. Oh yeah, there is a time difference. So I'm on East Coast. Forgot where you're at, Big Al. Where are you located, Big Al? Are you Central Time, I think? So 7 p.m. my time, which I think if you're Central, you're 6 p.m. Michigan, I think that's Central. Yeah, so that's 6 p.m. So you're just an hour behind me. And then New Jersey, yep, we're on the same wavelength. Okay. I know 7 o'clock on Friday night, you're like, what? Do you have a life? No, I don't. Okay. Montana. Mountain time. So they're 2 or 3 hours away. I think you guys are 2 hours. So I think it's like 5 o'clock your time, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, New Mexico, I think you're the same thing. I think you're like 5 p.m. my time. 5 p.m. your time. Do math? Wow, that's... Okay, Jess. That sounds kind of sad on my end. But anyway. Yeah, it sounds about right. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so sometimes I have to think. I'm like, that's Colorado, and I think they're 3... Colorado's either 2 or 3 hours away from me. I have to think. It's been a minute. Yeah, I don't have anyone in Colorado tutoring. Got the exes. Everyone says all their exes are in Texas. Mine are in Colorado. I don't know why. They're 2 hours. All right. Thank you, Jess. Yep. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for like 66.7. Thank you. Because I almost saw triple sixes. I was like, whoa. A little too close to home. But if anything, if you are going into ASVAB, ACCUPLACER, any of those assessments, SATs are right around the corner. Even if you're thinking about taking the College Board exam, I'm starting to get popular in Puerto Rico now. I'm like, let's go. Need a visit. But, you know, with their SATs but if anyone else is thinking about any of these assessments, or if you're homeschooling your child, that's another thing. If I am prying, please let me know. Thank you. Yes, let's even get to 70K. That's great. If I am overstepping, please just let me know. Send me a message. Hell, I already got death threats, so bring it. I'm just a math teacher, guys. Like, really, let's not take this so deep. But if by chance you're thinking about pulling your child out of schools to do homeschooling, and I know, trust me, I understand you're trying to do what you can for your child, and I'm not stopping you from that. But if you know you're a single parent and you know you're going to have to work and you're not really going to be home, take that into consideration. You know, try to look at what resources you can get. If you want to talk to somebody, I have other tutors that's what they do with homeschooling. If you want to brainstorm some ideas, I definitely know some people that can do some resources. But my thing is, don't pull your child out because you're pissed. I want you to be able to pull your child out because you know you got the resources to supply to do that demand that they're going to need. Because if not, I don't want you to come across the situations that I keep seeing with a lot of students now, that they're supposedly going to be 8th graders or 9th graders or supposed to go into high schools, but then they realize that they don't have the accreditation to be promoted as a 9th grader. And I'm starting to see a lot of students that are basically backtracking. And the other thing I'm noticing is a lot of our COVID kids, they're either 9th graders now or they're going into the 8th grade. So, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Do I teach Common Core? Yeah, we do in Maryland. What do I think of Common Core? You really want my true answer? I think of the same way that everyone else. The whole terminology of having Common Core, I thought, was initially like when we had kids, like, because I used to work near Bowie. So, and we used to be like near Fort Meade, was at a school that was nearby. And when we had kids that were in the military, that 1 minute they're in, I don't know, Arizona, the next minute they're in Maryland, and all of a sudden their transcripts was not, basically, that had one young lady that was taking geometry, and she already took it in, I forgot where she was, I think it was Arizona, and then her parents transferred into Maryland. And my school wasn't taking her accreditations because the accreditations over in Arizona wasn't matching up to Maryland, and she was a senior. So they were just like, you're going to have to repeat your junior year. And she was one of my basketball players. And all of a sudden I saw her in the hallway just like distraught. And I'm like, dude, what's wrong? And she told me this. And I literally was like, I went to the guidance counselor and I said, look, I will give up my planning periods to, man, I did a lot of stuff for kids. I was just sitting here thinking about that. I'm like, that's crazy. I was like, I will give up my planning period just to catch her up. What does she need? And she's like, well, she needs a semester. And I'm like, dude, we got it. You know, she's smart enough that she'll be able to do this, and I'll test her out. And this is the time that we as teachers were able to create our own examination and also get it approved by the districts. And yeah, so we got everything done. Like, she worked her butt off. Like, when I said she worked her butt off, it's like every time I turned around, she's like, Miss Audrey. Well, this is what they used to call me. Because I just felt like, why am I having you call me Codner? It was my last name might change one day. So they were just like, hey, Miss Audrey, like, I did this. Hey, coach, I did this. Like, can you check this? And I'm like, every planning period, every lunch period for like months. And we caught up. And we really did. Even when we didn't have school, like, I was crazy. I would drive to her home and we would do math just to make sure that she was up to snuff. And yeah, that was a long few months, but we did it, and she was able to graduate on time. So yeah, I remember when we had the meeting at Arundel High School. I think it was the summer of 2010 or 2011. And they said the goal for Common Core was for all kids to do the work with little to no prompting. And this is before there was any kind of air conditioning in that auditorium. And I remember the air got sucked out of that room. Every teacher was like, what? There's no way. Oh, everyone's losing their minds. It was just like, you have no idea what goes on in our classrooms. Like, none. But that was me ranting. Hello, Cole. How are you? Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not in the classroom anymore. I decided not to. This is my 6th school year of just doing online tutoring myself. So I just got tired of the foolishness. So I figured this is my way to kind of undo the foolishness without undermining other teachers. Because there's some amazing teachers out there that's doing awesome stuff, but there's still a lot of teachers that's just really sucking up and taking up space. But, you know that they can't get fired either because they're tenured, or they can't get fired because they're short teachers. So, and we've been short teachers for a long time, but it's getting even worse after the pandemic. Like, they're in Maryland now, they're trying to get a lot of the federal workers that got fired and offering teaching positions for them. And that's all great. They probably have the credentials and everything, but they don't know classroom life. Like, a kid will look you dead in your eye and make you feel small. If you let them. They're not going to be kind, especially high schoolers. Shoot, when I talk about high schoolers, especially middle schoolers, whoo-wee. You're going to have a lot of people that's going to be sitting here getting all excited, decorating their rooms, making it all pretty and all that stuff. And they're going to leave after the first week of school. Watch. They're going to be like, this is ridiculous. Yep. Let's see. You get in this book eventually. I know. So NDN, message me your real name, because that's the only way I can find it. Message me your real name so I can take a look to see. How can we increase math? Oh, math state scores is low in proficiency. Oh, well, we tried that one year. And a lot of people pretend that they didn't know that this happened. State scores went up dramatically one year. Where was I? I was at Overland. No, I wasn't. I was at Arundel High School at that time. I could say it because I'm not there anymore. And it was the one year that the HSAs decided not to do BCRs and ECRs. And that one year, the scores went up dramatically. And that's what everyone keeps talking about. They keep saying, oh, we got to get the state scores the way they used to be back in the early 2000s. Well, that was the year that, ETS decided, let's see what will happen if we pull because they were trying to make the transition from high school assessment to the Common Core. So they decided not to put the ECRs and BCRs. And of course, that's the part that all the kids skip. So that one year, it was in the newspaper. People were celebrating. Being a teacher was like glorious. And it was like, oh my God, look at the scores. Even in Baltimore City, their scores went up dramatically. And we have been chasing that dragon ever since. And I'm just like, guys, until they make the factors the same as then, they're just like, what are you talking about? And I tell people, I'm like, did you not look at the test? Because, when you're standing there and the kids are taking the test, obviously I'm going to take a look at the test and see what's going on. And there was no ECRs and no BCRs, brief constructive response or extended constructive response. So as we're all sitting here saying that what can we do to raise these math scores, it's like there's so many things that we're currently doing. I feel like there's too much. Every time you turn around, here's a new curriculum. the last school that I worked at, I was teaching out of 2 different curriculums at the same time. Doesn't make any sense. But that's exactly what I was doing. So it's almost like there's always going to be a divide, no matter what. I still believe that Catholic schools are slightly behind math-wise than public schools, based off of what I'm seeing with tutoring. There's so many different factors. You know, the poor area doesn't get the same resources as a rich area, and some of the middle class people are just trying their hardest to get things together. But no matter what, we have too many things out there. There's too much that the kids just can't process. They're not machines. So I don't even know if it'll ever increase. We always just find a reason to just say, I don't know when we're ever going to increase it. All I can do is, like, I got people, because we got so much technology, kids rather just take pictures of it and put it in ChatGPT and then churn out an answer than to want to sit down and to figure it out. And then when you have parents that have math phobia, and they're just like, oh, I suck at math. You're supposed to suck at math because your grandparents sucked at math and my great-grandparents sucked at math. It's not a generational thing, you know? But if you don't have a teacher that cares, because they treat teachers like horrible, because the majority, I don't know why they do, but without teachers, you wouldn't be able to learn anything, and maybe that's why. So, yep, or you use AI. Yeah, it's hard because once it's engraved, I mean, you see how these kids are when you try to take their phone. Good God. There's times I'll leave my phone in my car, or I'll be like, oh, shoot, I left it at home. Okay, that's all right. Because who am I calling? I'm not calling anybody. All right, I'm good. Because that's what I was raised to. And it's weird that sometimes I still have quarters in my car. Why? Because I'm not going to a payphone, but it's so engraved in my head to at least like have a couple quarters or a couple nickels in there. And even there's sometimes you might go in an area that they'll have like a parking meter and you actually have to put coins in it. You're like, oh, dude, I feel old. Yeah, it's having all that change. Oh, yeah. I love how everyone's like in Texas, no phone in schools. They tried to do that here in Maryland. They used to have those pouches that's magnetically closed. Please, these kids are good. They know how to break into them things real quick. They're like, yeah, here you go, Miss Audrey. All you hear is they just use the back of a stool, or maybe the back of the of their chair, of their desk, and pop them things right open. No problem. They'll figure out a way. Kids are very resilient. But we don't treat them as if they're resilient. We keep treating these kids like they're stupid. Like, oh, you're not old enough, you don't know. Please. This is the time that their brains are actively working. Let's feed that bad boy. So, charter schools, public schools. Oh, yeah. You're asking the right person, David. Because I worked in both of them. I remember when charter schools were just opening up around Maryland, and they were announced as, this is going to be better than most public schools. Definitely not. It all depends on what the charter is for. Now, the charter that I worked in was for art integration. Great for younger students, not for high school. Their motto was the kids are supposed to be known, loved, and inspired. And I was like, okay, they're known. Got it. It's not a huge school. I was able to help with the first graduating class, but those kids, when they came into that school, they were told that you are going to help build a school, and they were all into it. But then when other people started coming in, they weren't given that same push. So all of a sudden, the value of it really started to dwindle. And then it started to be a stomping ground for special education, which is fine, but they didn't have the resources to support the amount of special ed students that were going into that school. And for their own younger middle and elementary school counselors to push them to come to the school instead of other feeder schools, it's just really turning bad. No. The idea of it is a really good idea, but the execution of it, it's not there. It's not there. All right, Just BB, have a good one. Yeah. You went to a Christian charter school. Yep. So it's always like the public schools, again, it's the individual teachers that makes that course, that makes that class. Everyone just says, oh, this school's really great. But yeah, it's, how should I put it? It's like when you have strong teachers that work together. And I remember there was a couple years I worked at a charter school, and we were old school teachers going into a charter school, and a lot of us were like, okay, this is interesting, but what about the academics? And I always had to ask that for the math department. And all this one person told me is like, how can we make math sexy? And my response is like, why are we worrying about making math sexy? How about how they can apply themselves and be able to handle any challenge possible? Why are you worrying about something being sexy? Weird, right? I don't know. Never understood that. In Texas, schools are considered... Oh, something's in my way, so I can't see what you have. Yeah, based on their scores. Yeah, I do. I tutor a couple kids in Texas. One outside of Dallas, one outside of Houston. There's another one that I picked up this summer too. I can't remember where exactly she lives. But yeah, I hear some horror stories, and especially for special ed. Especially for special ed. There's like little to no support for special ed. Most of the support that I've seen for special ed students, learning disabilities, is mostly on the East Coast. West Coast is just as bad, if not worse. Like, unless you're a parent that knows how to look and research and try to find people, you're not going to get much support. And the schools that you get, it's just terrible. It's terrible. Yep. If they don't score well, yep, the state will take the school. Yep. They're trying to do that here in Maryland. Because there was a couple of schools, a couple years ago, 3 years ago, there was this kid that was a senior at one of our Baltimore City schools who never went to school. But got a report card with grades in it. Never went to school. And the mother was like, wait, what? And all of a sudden, someone out of nowhere just said, yeah, you can't graduate. And that's when the mother flipped out. What do you mean you flipped out? Let's back up. Your child hasn't been in school since 9th grade. Yeah, you heard me correctly. He hasn't been in school since 9th grade. He had a couple of classes and gym. And you think he's going to graduate? But he was getting the report card. Parents don't know. Once they go to home, they go to work. They have no idea what their kids are doing. But who's contacting the parents to say, you know what, we haven't seen little Jerome in a while. What's going on? Why do they lag behind? They have their math, like say their pre-calculus is really like Algebra 1 for public school. I don't know if it's just because of the resources, the lack of resources, or I have no idea. I don't know why they're behind, but they are always behind compared to public schools. Yeah, because even like the stuff that they always share with me, I'm like, wait, you're in what class? Are you in Algebra 2? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, this is like pre-algebra or early Algebra 1. It's always behind. Okay. Where's McKinney? Oh, they do have an excellent 5. See, that's 504. I'm talking about IEP. That's that deep down stuff where you constantly have to be with those kids and you constantly have those teachers at those meetings. 504, it's like, okay, all right, we just make sure you have the support. Do you have a calculator? Great. Do you get extra time? Awesome. But I mean, like IEP, you're constantly testing them. Out of Dallas. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Because then sometimes you'll get some teachers that just don't know and they don't have an older teacher to really show them, especially math teachers. Because if you really look at it, when a kid has an IEP or a 504, it's all stemming from math and English. You're always listening and learning from the math and English teacher. So I'm always like, well, aren't they reading in history? They're like, yeah, so why don't we have the history teacher in the meetings as well, instead of just the math and English teachers? And then you wonder why. Because if we, like you said, if we don't do well on these assessments, and these kids are being assessed so much. Oh my gosh, I would never forget. October was like ridiculous. April, May was ridiculous. Then some people would do some kind of testing in November. And I'm like, wait, what? Why is there so much testing? And my thing is like, can you give me time to teach this? God forbid if another teacher wants to do what do they call it, like a field trip, my whole day is shot to hell because all these kids are on a field trip. And I love when the field trip is to a movie theater and I'm like, you can do this on a Saturday. You can definitely do this on a Saturday. Yep. There is tons of testing. And what happens when the kids test? They don't take the test seriously. They do not take testing seriously. They do not wreak the havoc that if they don't do well on this test, even though we as the teacher will say, you know what, this is important, but if they don't see the importance out of it, they're just guessing. The iReady, oh my God. Why do I have high school kids taking the iReady test? The iReady is supposed to be designed up to 8th grade. Not juniors and seniors in high school. No. With the breathing. Oh my God, the breathing. Having flashbacks. I'm having lots of flashbacks. But David, really good questions. I mean, I wish I can say it's an A and B type of solution. It's not. There's so many factors. There's so many loopholes. And this is, I want to say, this is the reason why I can still do what I love to do, which is instruct and to break concepts down. But It's really hard. It's hard to be a teacher, and they're making it harder to be a teacher. And then when it gets to the point that your administration is like coming down on you and saying, oh, well, you need to do this and this, we'll do it for the children. No, screw that. Why don't you do something for the children other than throw them a freaking pizza party? Which it's always during my planning period or always during the time that the kids need to be in my classroom. Because I'm a math teacher, of course I'm going to have an attitude when you're sitting here and saying, oh, let's do something fun and do it during second period. You're like, no, that's when I have those kids that needs to test it stuff. Or those are the kids that needs to do the bridge projects and all this stuff. Oh, well, you can pull them out. Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Ay, ay. But I know, as the years just kept creeping on, I was in the classroom for 22 years. And I can't believe I was in the classroom that long. But I was. And to see how things have transformed, no one talks about the cover-ups. No one talks about, hey, where did this funding go? We had $8 million and all of a sudden we had an audit and they're short $8 million. Okay. All right, who just retired? Oh, where'd they retire? To Florida? Oh, okay. And they got a brand new house? How much was that house worth? Oh, about a good $5? Okay. All right. That sounds all right. Yeah. Yeah. And everyone says, oh, just give them more money. The kids need more money. Like, we're getting money, but the money is not going to the kids. Each kid is worth $5,000 to $6,000. Do you notice that? I don't know, maybe you guys don't, but besides college being expensive, I think we have a good colleges in you. And you want to say that because a lot of people want to come to the United States for our colleges, for our education. Because we do have great professors. Some of them, yeah, I would say we have pretty good colleges. But here's the thing, a lot of these colleges are losing their funding. Because last year, I think in Philly alone, there was like last year or 2 years ago, man, time is flying. They closed down a lot of the smaller schools so they can merge into the larger universities. So it just seems like a lot of those, like if people like an intimate setting and be able to talk to their professors and be able to like really feel like they're a part of something without being a number, like some of these other big universities, they're losing out because they're closing all these small universities. I don't know what they're going to do with the buildings, but they're closing a couple of them and they're putting them up for sale. Yeah, I think it's Usinus up in Philly. They closed down and they merged all their people to St. Joe's University. And St. Joe's is growing like there's no tomorrow, and that's where I went for my undergrad. So it's all about money, guys. It's all about money. And that's why it's when I'm telling students when they graduated this year, I'm like, when you go to college, I need for you not to just sit in your room and study all day. And they're like, what? And I'm like, no, I need for you to be social. I need for you to market yourself. I need for you to just experience life, because when you're out of there, you are not going back into your mommy and daddy's home. No, you're going to try to get an apartment. You're going to try to work with people. You're going to start and mingle with people. So wherever job you want to go to, you'll have an in. That's how you got to work the system. I wish I knew that when I was in college, because I didn't understand college when I went. Yeah. In a private school. Oh, yeah, private schools, trust me. I love going to private school basketball games. It cracks me up. I love when they play like the heaviest rapper you can think of unfiltered. I'm like, oh my God, did they not hear the music? And they'll be at a private school, it'll be hilarious. But yeah, networking. Hey, Michael. Yeah, networking, I'm telling you. Like, that's what college is about. That's what your next steps are. It's what you can learn at this particular step to apply to make yourself better at the next step. And who is that person? Because most of these jobs, it's nice to know what you're doing. But if you really know what you're doing and you got it in, you can write your own freaking ticket. Because that's what a lot of people do. It's a lot of who do you know? And do research and find out who's in charge of what companies, and not waiting until your senior year to start mingling and matching with people. Start talking to people your freshman year. Start really talking to people your sophomore year. If you have kids that are thinking about going to college, don't just go on the college tour. Like, literally figure out what your kid wants to major in. Send an email to that professor, and then see if you can sit in one of his classes, his or her classes. Trust and believe. That professor will remember who you are. So when it's time for you to apply, you can just send a message like, hey, I'm going to apply to this. Oh, that'll be awesome. Then they can have a say. I've had that happen to one kid that wanted to be a dentist at Georgetown. And she's like, I want to go to Georgetown. And I'm like, all right. I don't know anybody at Georgetown, but let me see what I can do. I looked up the Department of Dentistry. Didn't know they had a Department of Dentistry, but they do. And found out who is the department head. Send him a message saying, hey, I have one of my students that wants to be a part of your, dentistry. And I'm wondering, is there any way that she can go and sit in one of yours or maybe one of your colleagues' classes so she can really understand the college experience? It's not just what they see on TV, the parties and the gym and all that stuff. It's really, you need for them to see the hard nose. And he wrote back and he was like, yeah, let me know her schedule. They sat down. They usually have like the phones in the classroom that you can call out on. I had her in class. I'm like, hey, come over here. Okay, everybody, you do work. You're going to sit here and talk to the professor right now. He's expecting your call. This is his number. Go chit chat, make the arrangement. And she sat there, they had chit chat. And then she's like, yeah, I get to go to his class like Thursday night. Awesome. Talk to your parents, make it happen, go. Loved the experience. Parents were happy. She was ecstatic. The professor was like, she was very professional. She was taking down notes because I told her, don't bring out your phone. I want you to take notes. I want to see those notes, even though I have no idea what these notes mean. I want you to write down notes and be proactive in the class, like you are a person in that classroom. And he remembered her. And she got accepted into the dentistry. It takes teachers that care to make things move. Not just marching and complaining. And I get it. Trust me, I get it. But right now, I have to worry about my little babies that are right in front of me. And I care about them and I want them to kind of move forward. But that's what people need. When you go to a college, you can't see that on the college tour. They take it, because I used to do college tours when I was at St. Joe's for a short time. They take you to the cafeteria. They take you to the library. They take you to the gym, maybe one of their nicer dorms. But of course, I'm like, okay, you guys are going to be freshmen. That's a really nice dorm, but you're not going there. Let me show you the freshman dorm. Come on. They used to hate me because the people are like, oh my God, this is a freshman dorm. I'm like, yes. So this is where you're going to be. You see? Okay, now you see the size of the room? Okay, so if you're thinking about bringing 60 million to things, no. So, but that's what people just need. And they don't know. It doesn't matter if you're going to be a student athlete, if you're just going to be a student. Talk to the international students. Make friends with them. Talk to the custodians, the security guards, maintenance people. They are the people that run that. Because all I know is if I had a light bulb and people are like, I've been waiting a week to get my bulb changed. I'm like, no, that happened the same day. Because I'm a nice person. Gotta know how to talk to people. So, yeah. Go to school and work for another. Yes. You're a federal agency. Good. I'm telling you, it's all about networking. It's all about networking. Where do you want to go to college? And people should be thinking about, I know it's early, but once they get into what grade? 7th or 8th grade, they should have like their top 10 schools or top 10 careers. Something's got to happen. They got to make a list. By the time they're sophomore year, they're dropping it from 10 to 5. And you're going on college visits. Whenever you got time, like a weekend visit, take a look what's in your area. Don't assume, and see if you can sit in those classrooms and talk to counselors. It doesn't take much. It really doesn't. And they love to talk to people about it. That's what most of them are basically working to do. He wants to be a doctor. Yeah. So here's my thing. If he wants to be a doctor, you need to figure out what college, even if you start at a community college, what type of doctor do you want to be? What does it really mean to be a doctor? And I'm telling you, all these people that want to be nurses, trust me, I have tons of kids that all say, I want to be a nurse. I want to be a nurse. I'm like, why? And they'll say, because I want to help people. Okay, there's so many other ways to help people. But we really have to hone in on what does it mean? Like, what kind of doctor do you want to be? And what classes do you need to be well in? If you suck at science, you're probably not going to be a doctor. If you don't know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide, you are not going to be anything in the medical field, because you are going to kill somebody, some baby. Please. Okay? Because you have to understand those concepts. Am I sitting here stepping on your dream? I don't want to. But let this be a reality. Okay? Let this be a reality. What do you want to do? And figure out what schools. Don't go to a school because you see their basketball games or basketball or football jerseys. Are you playing football for them? No? Okay. Who's paying for this? Like, I want to go to Morehouse. Okay, you got Morehouse money? Are you looking at scholarships? Are you on Naviance? Are you looking at, like, there are some grants that you don't have to pay back? What are you doing to make that? Because it doesn't always have to come out of pocket, but you don't want to have to pay all this stuff, because there's some scholarships that does not include housing. And a lot of people miss that. They'll get discounts off of your books, which nowadays you don't even have to pay for books. You should be renting textbooks. Because trust me, what happens if I want this textbook? You're not going to look at it ever again. Rent the textbooks. Okay, you can go on Chegg. That's one that pops in my head. There's another one, but I can't remember the name of it. If I do, I'll share it with you guys. Rent the textbooks. Help plant a tree. There you go. Then you can have it for a semester. Turn it back in. Bada boom, bada bing, you're fine. After all that, because there's a lot of people at Hershey, Pennsylvania, that would go near, what school is that? Lehigh? Lehigh's not in Hershey. There's one that's near Hershey. cannot remember. My brain is done. I'm so sorry. That there's a lot of kids that will go up there and they're homeless because they didn't have money to pay for housing. They thought housing was included, and housing is not always included. You have to read what the scholarship will cover. And you need to talk to administration or a counselor to make sure that you're getting everything covered. Okay. Math and science. Okay. Hello, Bran. How are you? Exactly, Michael. Exactly. If you want to major in the sciences, you have to get that math. You have to get that math. You have to get that science, and not just, I mean, our state makes our kids do 4 years of math, but they're trying to put in this new, and I think they have it in Maine as well as New York. They used to have Math 1, Math 2, Math 3, and then they had like some kind of alternative courses. And Maryland is trying to take that. Like Math 1 will be Algebra 1 with a little bit of Algebra 2. No, Algebra 1 with geometry and data analysis. Math 2 will be a little bit of Algebra 1, Algebra 2-ish. Statistics. There's something else. Oh, and trig. And then Math 3 will be whatever the kids want to pick for the next 2 years. And I'm just like, they have no idea what to pick, because how are you going to teach a whole year of algebra in a short amount of time? Oh my God. My head. It just makes me crazy. Yeah. Never stop learning. Of course. Never stop learning. Yep. Never, ever, 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 ever stop learning. But you just have to. So, if anything, excuse me, as I'm rambling on here. So, if anything, if you guys are coming in later, and give me some time, because sometimes it might be like tomorrow. It's not even after midnight yet. So, it might be like tomorrow, because it takes forever to upload. Is that we can go to my YouTube, Y2, and then you could just type in this or my name, Audrey Codner. And if you want, you can just go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, share. That'll be awesome, because I have all those videos, especially up to yesterday, available under what's called TikTok Lives. And, you can watch all those. This one, again, have tomorrow. If you can give me tomorrow, that'd be great. And if anything, I do private tutoring. I do have some courses. I'm currently working on a math workbook to help people with their courses of GED, ASVAB, the T's, and the foundational math, and also the ACCUPLACER. Right now, a lot of the self-paced courses are like 107 videos. You got practice tests and also some quizzes involved in there. You can go here if you want to get yourself involved in one of those courses. But if you are on the verge of taking the GED, the ASVAB, any of these exams, even the SAT and the ACTs, you can definitely reach out. I would prefer you reach out to me so I can kind of tell you which would be best for you, because a general one, yeah, you can pick the courses. But if you're thinking about taking the test in like the next month or two, yeah, we might have to fast track a couple things. Or if you're thinking about taking it in the next couple weeks, hopefully that is not the idea. But if it is, just let me know so we can probably get a couple sessions here and there and just tweak our thinking just to make sure that you're going to get the grade that you really need. No one wants to go to the Army to clean toilets, but that is a job that needs to be done. But if you're just like, hey, let me get that higher score so I don't have to do that, let's do it. All right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I learned a lot this summer, that's for sure. Okay. You earned your bachelor's degree at 50? Awesome. Yes. Good job. Veteran? Oh, which branch? I haven't, Brand, to be honest with you. Yeah, because every time I do those, it's like, I hate to say it, I don't get that many views. Oh, Michael, that is so true. I'm sorry. A lot of it's the if then. But I might see. I'll see if I can pull something. If it's something that's relatively short and to the point, I'll see what I can do, Brand. Since you asked so nicely. And I don't want to disappoint you. 7 years Navies and 3 years Army. Okay. Exactly. Good. Yeah. That's the least they should do. They need to do more for you guys. They really do. Because you gave up, like, even though that's 10 years. That's 10 years of your life that you trained. You know, that's 10 years. They should do more. Okay. I gotcha. Yeah, but hey, the fact that you want to learn and you still do the advancement, I love that. I mean, no one else can step in your way of any of that. They can take your house, they can take your car, they cannot, unless you let them. They can't take your brain, they can't take your knowledge, they can't take your personality. You know? So, but yeah, I love what I do. I really do. I love coming on here. And your math and science, good. Good. Yeah. Because I know there's times that it feels like there's no hope, but for you sitting around just watching mindless TV about stupid stuff, you can easily turn that into a knowledge which may spark your creativity, spark your, get inspired to do something that you've never thought was possible, and now you're making it possible. So that's why I really truly believe in education. And I know it's tough when people say, well, when will I ever learn this in life? And I'm like, dude, you're living it. You're living it. Like all the if-then statements that Brand was talking about with the conditional statements. Like you do that. That's decision making. A lot of it is what lawyers do to really bring, or interrogation. That's a form of interrogation as well. That is mathematics. This is going to happen if and only if you make a whole complete life change. That's what it is. You're scared though. IB prep. Okay. Well, here's my thing, Brand. Taking it step by step. And that's all you can do. That's all you can do. Just take like every concept that you go on there. Just take it step by step. Don't freak out. Like, you're going to freak yourself out, make yourself feel like you're nothing, which you're not. You're so much more than that. And you just take every concept. I don't care if it's IB, AP, any kind of thing that makes your parents proud. Like, oh my God, let him put him on the pedestal. He's awesome. Like, you're awesome regardless if you're taking IB or basic standard math. You're an amazing person. Every single one of you guys are. Don't let people's idea of what the perfect person is. We're all not perfect. We make mistakes, but that's what you do. You make mistake, you learn from it, you get up, you dust yourself off, and then you keep moving. Okay? It's like the A series. TV series, yeah. You know? Because, I mean, I've lost a couple students because of stress. And I'm telling you, when I was in the classroom, trust and believe, when I had to go to IEP meetings and straighten so many people out, straighten so many parents out, and I'm like, I'll be blessed that I'm going to sit here and listen to you down your child. Or the other way around, when a kid started talking down to a parent, and I'll be like, you know what? I'm not tolerating this. You might tolerate this at home, but if I'm in this room, I'm not tolerating this. Straighten up and fly right. And the parents are like, how'd you do that? And I'm like, how'd you not do that? You're the one that created this. I just have to deal with it for 8 blessed hours a day. And then God forbid if they're one of my students, my players. Oh man. No. Yeah. Oh, one day at a time. Yeah. Yeah, that was 70s. I know, it felt like 80s, right? Yeah. Yeah, and that's it. You know? Because there's too many kids that are going to go to college and they're like, my parents are depending on me to do what? They want you to be a step or 2 steps ahead of themselves. Right now, you're already there. Because there's a lot of people that have never been to college. But you can't put yourself into a position that you're like thinking, I can't keep going, I can't live. Because I lost a lot of students. And stress is one hell of a thing. And especially like if they're like, say, Johns Hopkins or Yale, Harvard. Oh my God. Morehouse, that's one. Lots of stress. But like I said, for all these exams that you guys are taking, don't let this exam define who you are. It's something that you have to rise above, or you got to break through. But now you got someone that can at least break down those concepts that you can understand. Like I can make anyone understand any form of math except for calculus. That's not me. I know my limitations. That's it. What is it? Discrete algebra or discrete math? No. Just no. There's some people that are awesome at it. Not me. It makes my brain hurt. Like really. Like if their blood can come out of my ears, probably. But when it comes down to really understanding the concepts, breaking down concepts, I can do it. Yep. But so Bran, just keep your head up. Okay, out of you, I'm proud of you. Like even though you're going out and you're checking out books, I'm not sure where did you say you were at? Did you say you were in Montana? Or am I losing my mind? Probably. Because here in Maryland, we have something called a books buy, where people donate books, and you can get tons of books, as many books as you want for free. If you want to donate, you can donate money, but they're not expecting you to donate anything. I mean, like when I was working at the juvenile justice, and I used to buy books, and I was like, man, this is killing me. And then we found this book buy place, and I was able to walk out of there with like 3 to 4 bags, like recycle bags filled with books. Just filled. Oh my gosh, the kids were so excited. And I was able to get some of the books that they were interested in, which was kind of rare, but it helps. And they have like old textbooks, and so you can check it out, see if there's any kind of like book exchange near where you are. So that will save up on a little bit of cash flow. But that's me in a nutshell. That's a very big nutshell. But that's what I do. I basically come here to really find my purpose. And my purpose is through my pain. And my pain was, when I was growing up, really wasn't good at math at all. I sucked. Fractions, nope. Word problems, hell no. Wasn't doing any of that. Just didn't understand it. Didn't have anybody that broke it down to me. My parents tried to get me tutors before, and they just basically kept me in a room by myself in a corner with a book wide open, and I had no idea what I was doing. Like, it didn't make any sense. I'll read it. It didn't make any sense. And yeah, but there wasn't anyone to break it down to me. So I'm taking my 22 years of experience and trying to break down math concepts for other people that struggled just like I did when I was a kid. And now we don't want to pour that insecurity, I guess we want to say, or that math phobia onto our students or onto our own kids. Because I'll see a lot of kids that won't even try because they know that their parents sucked at math. So, I'm supposed to suck at math too. It's not hereditary, people. It's really not. And I think once you get past this barrier, your life is going to open up so much. And to see how many people's lives have turned around because they passed their GED, or they did something that they always wanted to achieve. They got into the rankings that they wanted because of their high ASVAB score. Now they're able to do more than what they wanted. Or for people to go back to community college and don't have to take the basic math classes and pay all this money for a class that they don't get accreditation for. So now they're able to go straight to college algebra. And to really see people just take it and run with it. Passing exams, didn't think that they'll be able to pass, and not even pass, like do very well with it. So that's what I just want to do. And then at the same time, selling my tutoring services. And like I said, I always have a discount for TikTok, but it's not free because my mortgage isn't free. Keeping this light on isn't free. So thank you, Addicted. I appreciate that. Because that's what I want to do. I want people to feel happy about themselves. Like I said, I lost a lot of students. And sometimes I wonder what would life be if they were still here. What would be that ounce of happiness that we could have had in this world. And I don't want you to feel that because you had a previous teacher that made you feel small or classmates that made you feel small, I don't want that to ever stop you from being the awesome person that you are. And this is not BS. This is me just being me. And I know you don't know me from Adam or Eve. But I always want the best for people more than I want for myself. I don't know. It's just me. But I'm slowly but surely learning about myself. And as I learn more about myself, I'm helping other people to learn more about themselves. And you can definitely do this. Okay? You can definitely do this. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't. Or they're saying you're too dumb, or that's not who you are. They don't know who you are. They're only reacting to the little bit of you that you present to them. They don't know the full you. No one knows the full you. Only you do. So if you want to, get this test score up, reach out. Okay? If you know someone that needs assistance, share my information. That's what it's there for. Hell, half the scammers of the world's got it, so why not give it to someone that can use it? Because they be calling. Calling all the time. My God. But I think that's about it. I know you guys are trying to go for like 100K, which I appreciate, but here's my thing. We got this. I'm more than happy about this. I greatly appreciate this, and I think we all, including myself, need to go to bed. But I want you to have, if you're working the night shift, do the job. Just remember, this is just a moment. If this isn't like where you think your life should be, treat it as such. Start researching on what you really want to do. Start dreaming big, and then putting action into it. Okay? Yep, it is after midnight. Yep, I have officially been up for 2 days. Haven't been asleep yet. Yeah, I couldn't sleep last night. It's too much stuff going on. But if you are where you wanted to be and always wanted to be, guess what? There's no ceiling. You can still be a better version. Or maybe you could be something that you want to have your own business, or you want to have your own accreditations, whatever it is. Go after it. You got this. Yep, I'm going to. I sound sleepy. Yeah, sleepy, and when you do a little bit of reflecting, it just makes you, not sad, but I think we all just need a moment of reflection. Sometimes you just gotta stop. Sometimes I don't realize of all the stuff that I do, I'm just so used to just doing it. Oh, something needs to be done, I just do it. So like I always say, like I'm just like Boxer on Animal Farm. So if you ever read the book Animal Farm, I'm Boxer. So we all know what happened to Boxer. If not, look it up. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Yes, you can. And you just have to take it step by step. That's all you gotta do. I know it's easier said than done, but it can be done. All right. Yeah. Look it up. Yep. Boxer was the horse. Probably might get some cliff notes on it. So I'm truly Boxer. Oh, thank you. But it's true, though. I mean, sometimes we all just need a push. Because for years, we had someone tell us what to do, where to go. And then when we became teenagers, we rebelled. Like, oh, you don't know anything. Parents are dumb. This, that. And then now that you're an adult, you have your own bills to take care of. That apartment or the house that you always wanted. Yeah, that bill keeps coming up every month, right? Like, damn, didn't I just pay this? I'm like, oh yeah, it's already been a month. Okay. And it's easy to suck in with the social media and society telling us that you're not good enough unless you got big tits, small waist, and a big ass. And, you got to be pretty, or you got to have, broad shoulders and, well endowed and all that stuff. And if you're not that, you're a loser. So you need this powder, that chemical, this vitamin, or we'll call it a vitamin this week. And it's just like you're always chasing after something that has always been there the whole entire time. You. There's no other you like you. And the world needs you. So if it means that you have to figure out what the ins and outs of certain things or certain parts of life is, do that. Because the world's waiting for your greatness. Stop being selfish. Stop being so selfish, Share yourself. Because you might be that lifesaver that someone needs. All because you did something. All because you were able to get higher on the score of a test. You never know. You may just think of it as a test, but it might be something of a lifesaver for someone else. I had this one student that failed, and he needed my class to graduate, and he wanted to be a firefighter. And I'm like, how badly do you really want to be a firefighter? He was like, it's in my blood. Like, when he looked at me dead in my eyes, I can see he really wanted to be a firefighter. And I was like, all right. And we worked. I didn't just give him a grade. Like, I'm like, you're going to work. And you're going to work for this 1 week. He's like, yeah, but I got like a couple weeks. I'm like, no, you don't. You got 1 week. And this is what you got to do, and this is what you got to cover. And he worked. And there was times he wanted to give up, and I'm like, you're not allowed to. And he's still a firefighter. Yep. Still a firefighter. I love my kids, man. So proud of them. Jesus, I'm so proud of those kids. Hey, neither do I. Sometimes I get jealous of those kids that know, I want to do this, and they know exactly what they want to do. Shoot, I'm 52, soon to be 53. Now I still feel like I made a mess of my life. Damn. I do. And I know most people will be like, Audrey, shut up. I'm like, no, seriously. Married the wrong person. Now I'm too old to be cute. But throw myself into my work and starting helping more kids, not just in my direct neighborhood or in my state. Now I'm helping kids throughout, basically international, at one point. So that's why, like, me being up at midnight, it makes sense, especially this time of year. But those kids that I used to help, they're now freshmen in college. So I feel weird. I'm like, I'm supposed to be doing something right now, but I don't have to do that anymore because they graduated. But never know. And it's true. And the same to you. We just keep pushing. We keep pushing. You know, we keep pushing. Because every kid that I can help for an hour, like I'm a part of their life now. You know? And I love when they ask me questions that is somewhat not math related but appropriate. And they're not asking me like, where do babies come from? Like, no, none of that stuff. But it's just more so like, I have this speech that I'm supposed to say and I don't know what I should do. Now I gotta memorize it. And I just tell them like, no, speak from the heart. That's what, like, as long as you have your bullet points or your talking points, speak from the heart. People will remember that more so than anything. And she did well in her speech. So she'll find out tomorrow or sometime today, because it's Friday now, if she won her debate, which is awesome. But I like when they do stuff like that. And I can help. I just like helping. But I guess we're not supposed to. Our purpose is our pain. Whatever pain that we went through and we learned from and we step forward and we make it our motivation, we know other people will have the similar pain, which me is math. You know? How did you become somewhat successful in math? And that's why I'm here. Oh, my darlings. Okay. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. Especially having this nice anti-anxiety music playing in the background. It kind of reminds me of the Incredible Hulk when he's walking backwards. Hitchhiking. And if you don't know who that is, oh my God. When did I get old? Mad Tap. Oh, Big Al, you're still here, babes? I thought you left. Alright, so there's going to be a Mad Tap. First, it was a Mad Tap to what, 70? Alright, so we got roughly 95. So there's 40 of us if we all push. Yes, you have a great morning, Michael. Well, you have a good night because you're in the evening. Okay, so 38 of us. I think we can all make it. We can do it. And if you know anyone that needs assistance, Michael and the stickers. We got this. I don't know if I can also tap on here. Yeah. Or probably my soothing voice maybe put like 35 people to sleep. It's like, this is the only way I can get to sleep. I just put Audrey on and I get a nice soothing. It's like, oh yeah, there's 30 something people here. No, they're just asleep. Because my voice is just oh so soothing. Oh my word. Too funny. Oh my goodness. We're almost there, guys. So for people that are just coming in, wrapping up, we're just doing a quick little mad tap to like 100K. For those that don't know me, my name is Audrey Codner, and I'm the owner of ACG Math Tutoring. If you want, give me probably later on today to upload the video for today. And if anything, you can go to my Y2 channel. And if you type in ACG Math Tutoring or even my name, Audrey Codner, you can see all the videos of a playlist, those TikTok lives. You can go on there. It's from like February 2nd to like yesterday. Well, in the case, it'll be the day before yesterday. Videos. So there's like 100 and some odd videos on there. So you can just take a look. Also, if you need any assistance, we're almost there. And if you need assistance like private tutoring, or maybe you might want to have a self-paced course that if you need help with the GED, the ASVAB, the T's, and also foundational algebra, or even ACCUPLACER, you can definitely go here, which is also a link. And I do have math notebooks, because what I do is I do problems out of my little math notebook that I have here to help organize the thoughts. You can write your formulas down. You have a section to write down your steps. And then you have pages on both sides just to do some extra problems, as well as resource pages. Yay! Okay. So then you have all of this, the order of operations, place values, like all those things that people tend to forget, and just gives you like those small reminders. Okay, so it's all in here. There's 100 pages for the notes. Okay, roughly like 20 pages for everything else. So we have the math notebook. And if you're a lefty, I also have a left-handed notebook. Same stuff, same information, but it's great for my lefties, okay? Because I understand. You know, my parents, both of them are left-handed. But, of course, I dedicated this book to my father that passed officially 9 years ago yesterday. But, you know, so to all my lefties out there, I got you. So this is like for pre-algebra, algebra 1, and then I also have a book for algebra 2 and pre-calculus. Alrighty. So we got those, as well as Audrey's notes. So Audrey's notes is basically a copy of all my notes that I have done on TikTok. So if you notice, there is a QR code. If you scan that QR code, it will take you directly to the live that's in junction with this title, and you can walk through it step by step. So here, it'll give you all the steps that you need, and it'll just actually walk you through the whole process. And you can use it for mediation. You can use it for expansion of knowledge. And there's a total of 5 books now that's out on the Big A, and also you can get that right here at Books By. All right. We're almost out of batteries. That's fine. Well, thank you everyone for getting me to 100.5K. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much for the push. All right, I greatly appreciate that. All right, so if you need anything, go ahead and do a quick screenshot. This is all my information here. I'm going to take it off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then also, if you want any of the replays, will be here. And I will be live again later on tonight, this evening at 7 p.m. This is Friday. You know, I know it's early Friday morning. But on Friday evening, I'll be back on here again. I might see if I can do stuff for brand, or we'll see what else happens throughout the day. Alrighty. Okay, I'm ending it. Thank you so much, everyone. I will see you guys later on tonight. For those that are going to bed, rest up. I'm so glad my voice was so soothing to make you nice and relaxed. For those that are working, don't get too relaxed because you need to know what's going on. And thanks again. Thanks again for being amazing people. I appreciate you. All right. Good night, everyone. Take care.